Gordy Black.
Present.
Bruce Birchkowski.
Present.
Roger Birchkowski.
Present.
Robert Gajewski.
Here.
Doug Prentice in his absence with excuse. Chris Smith. Here. And Reed Woodward.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented and to include the amended agenda item 26A?
So moved.
By Roger,
Second.
second by Bob Gajewski, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 3, motion to open a public hearing for ordinance 563-18 and ordinance creating section 53-11 of the municipal code of ordinance and establish impact fees pursuant to section 66.0617 Wisconsin statutes. Motion to open.
So moved.
Bruce,
Second.
second by Bob Baskey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bill, are you going to?
I can. This is an ordinance to establish a set of rules for the village to follow in order to impose impact fees on developers. Section 66.0617 of the statutes allows municipalities to, in essence, impose fees on developers for certain types of projects. This ordinance deals with park impact fees, and it's on residential development. So any residential development in the future based on this ordinance, the developer, whether it's a single family or a multifamily, would have to pay a fee based on what they're constructing and developing in the village. The purpose of the fee is to collect an amount of money to then be used to support that structure. So in the park situation, it's for park development, park improvements. The money that's collected needs to be maintained in a segregated account, and it has to be used within 8 years of the time that the money is collected. So that money comes in and it's there. Jody would have to provide the board with an annual report as to how much money is there, and then the board would have to use that money within 8 years for park improvements.
Thank you, Bill. And a little bit of history. Traditionally, during the budget process, we try to set aside X number of dollars each year towards playground equipment. It generally takes us about 10 years to put enough together to put a new facility in a park. The Shippey Park one that was donated by the Green Bay Packers, that was gratis. It didn't cost anything. It was worth about $40,000.
It's definitely gonna make a difference. If we had it the last 2 years, it would have been a nice chunk of change in there.
Yes. So I think it's something that probably should have been instituted back in the 80s, when this was a fast-growing community. But it looks like we're poised to grow again, and so I think it's important that this impact fee be placed. It will make a difference for the way we can update our parks regularly.
Can I ask a question, being the new person on board, how did this come about now? What's been a little background of the journey to get us to this point?
I think just taking a more careful and closer look at how the parks are operating and the needs, financial needs for the park, obviously budget constraints. I think you all can talk to that better than I can, but it's a way to fund the parks. Let me add another component to this. The statute that I mentioned allows municipalities to impose impact fees. There are different types of impact fees, so this one is specifically related to parks. You can have other types as well. So, and the ordinance is drafted to allow that to happen, so in the future, if you want to add another impact fee, we don't have to redo everything, we just have to go through a different process, another needs assessment. So Shank conducted a needs assessment based on the parks. If you wanted to do another impact fee, you'd have to do another needs assessment and add a couple of additional provisions to the current, or this proposed ordinance, to allow for other impact fees. The city of Madison has multiple impact fees. Green Bay doesn't have any, I don't believe. Howard has just a park impact fee, but I understand that they're looking at adding another impact fee. I don't know what kind, but I understand that they are looking at expanding it to other things besides parks, so.
Yeah, even the townships are doing it for parks purposes. The town of Chase, I believe.
Yeah, that's the primary purpose is for parks, but there are other things that you can add impact fees for too.
I think Bobby did some investigating with other communities to see what they were doing and came up with some ideas, and I think it's gonna be a good thing.
So if we have someone building a home here in Pulaski, we can charge them an impact fee?
Yes.
And how is that fee determined? I'm sorry to bring the questions
No,
up, but
no questions.
We surveyed everybody around us, and we didn't want to be high. We wanted to be like middle of the road. Chase is charging $750.
I believe ours, and it's already.
600 per dwelling.
600 per dwelling, I was gonna say 650.
Pittsfield, I'm not sure what theirs are. There's Hobart, I know has one. We're $600 for a residential home. Multifamily would be $1,200. Apartment units, it's anything 12 units and under would be $1,200. Anything over 12 units would be $100 per unit. So a 16-unit apartment complex would be $1,600.
And this is just for new construction?
Correct.
Okay.
The town of Chase was at $650 according to
Okay.
her investigation.
So that becomes effective right now?
Tonight,
Wednesday.
if you adopt it, and then when it's published.
Okay,
So the
so,
publication will happen probably Wednesday.
okay, so at what point does that get collected at? When
When
there's
you pay-
permits
Before
or?
your building permit, that's just one part of the fee.
So, just so I understand this, so, the new development, so with the big, apartment building, is that gonna be charged this fee?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
I'm not, yes, the answer is yes. I'm not sure when they plan to start, but it's based on when they come in for their building permit.
Okay.
They brought the plans in today, but they don't have any state approvals. So,
I just wanted to know when that was, so any new house that you come in and get a permit for, that's when you're gonna be charged that?
Right,
And that's paid up front then?
correct.
Okay.
How about the monastery, Reed, if that gets developed into apartments, would that?
It will fall under the ordinance.
Yeah,
It would probably be per unit.
Right, if they're
We're talking
turning,
about
if they're
40
turning an
40 units
existing,
eventually.
if they're turning an existing structure that's not residential
Yeah.
into residential, it would apply. Also, if somebody were, and I don't think you see this that often anymore, but if somebody were to take a house, a big family home and split it into an upper and a lower or something, that would be subject to the permit because they're adding a residential unit to the property. So anytime a property becomes residential or adds a residential unit, so if somebody had an existing apartment, well, the Karch properties over here, they got some space. If they wanted to build another apartment unit over there, they would be charged that fee now.
In the Shank's draft here that they gave us on page 10, there's a calculation on what they came up with for Pulaski, guessing that we were going to have 320, and it came up to $711 was the estimate for that. So
per. We had a lot of houses built from 2001 to 2006.
Yeah.
And then another thing to touch on, it's like, as a town grows, you know, you're required to have so much green space for parks. So this allows you to potentially purchase land to create another park if need be.
And to add on to that, there are also provisions where instead of, the developer could dedicate land to the village in lieu of paying the fee. So again, that works out under that same formula. They could dedicate a parcel of their land for park purposes rather than paying the fee.
Thank you. That's
Thank you.
my questions.
Any
are
other
answered.
questions? If not, would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for
So-
ordinance 563-18
So moved.
by Bruce,
Second.
second by Bob Gieske. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of May 7th, 2018, and the special board meeting of May 31st, 2018, and dispense with the reading.
So moved.
By Roger,
I'll second.
by Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Planning and Zoning Commission of May 16th, 2018. This is informational only. Approval of site plan and design review for 8,911 square foot addition to Country Villa Assisted Living located at VP-PI-117 or at 830 Crest Drive, Pulaski, Wisconsin, contingent upon state approved plans which have been approved and meeting all other local, state, county, and federal requirements, and obtaining a building permit within the village of Pulaski. Property owner is Chad Reeder of W 4684 East Nichols Road, Seymour, Wisconsin, and the applicant is Dave O'Brien, Bayline Buildings, P.O. Box 13571, Green Bay, Wisconsin 54307. And the site approval was granted by the Planning and Zoning. We expect the construction to start this month.
Completion by fall.
Completion, I believe, by October, The Tax Commission met on the 24th of May 2018. Bruce?
Yes, so we had a little short meeting, just kind of recap some of the stuff that we did. Went over some of the financials, what we have in the coffers to use. I gave a kind of recap on Kashmir Pulaski, some of the things that we did. Looking for ways to improve it, to make it bigger and better. We figured 5 to 6 rooms were used for the hotel, for the event, for people coming out of town. So we're gonna look for ways to make that better. A little update on Polka Days. There was a member that was supposed to show up to give us some advertising expense ideas. Didn't show up, so right now that's still in limbo. So we didn't do anything with Polka Days. There's going to be a car show on September 16th at the plaza that Al Morin is working on. I think with the Optimist. They used to have it at the ball field. Now they're going to move it to the Mountain View Plaza. So that'll be on the 16th, and he's possibly looking to have 2 days. He doesn't know for sure yet, but for sure on that Sunday. And they're also going to have what they call cruise and market nights every Thursday, starting this Thursday the 7th at the plaza, where you can bring your car in and show it off. And there'll be some Figaro's do some specials, and the coffee shop will do some specials for that. Website is up and running, so we'll keep that updated. We're going to talk about how often we should keep it updated, but that's up and running. And then we also had the visitors guide that we did through the Convention Bureau. We had that, and everybody seen a copy of that. So again, we'll look at ways to make that better, improve it for next time. So that was about the basis of it.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Next is the payment request of Robert E. Lee and Associates Invoice 73839 miscellaneous in the amount of $421.75.
You don't want me to give an update?
You want to do
Oh,
Chris?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, Chris.
Okay, it's
It's
brief.
fresh in your mind, right?
It's like my
It's
fourth
brief.
meeting today, so.
We had a meeting today at noon. Basically, the conversation was centered around the consistent fires printer building. Still going forward with working with Gorman developers, and that was really the topic of conversation. So our next meeting is going to be August 20th, and it will be held at the district school, or the school district offices, and it's from noon to 1. So that was it.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Was that what was determined, the school district office, not the library?
Correct. I sent out an email. I don't know, you must have gotten it today, but
Okay.
the library isn't open until 1 o'clock, so we couldn't meet there at noon.
I think we want to set a keys for it, though.
What'd you say?
I think we want to set a keys for it.
Well, she told me we couldn't meet there. So,
After all, it is our building.
well, I'll let you handle it. But you just let me know what to send out, I'll send it out.
Now we're going back to the payment request from Robert E. Lee, starting again over.
Sorry.
73839 miscellaneous in amount of $421.75. Invoice 73840 Crest Drive / Pelican Road Extension, $4,607.56. Invoice 73841 Well and Reservoir Modifications, $2,004.50. And invoice 73842 Library Soil Contamination Investigation, the amount of $1,483.08.
I failed to type that on there on the agenda. I missed that, so it's $1,483.08.
Oh.
It's the last bill, and then Nicole LaPont has the contamination report on her study. It's like 6 pages long, or back to back.
Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make that motion.
By Bob Bayesky,
I'll second.
second by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, consider approving and adopt ordinance 583-18 and ordinance creating section 53.11 of the municipal code of ordinances establishing impact fees pursuant to section 660617 Wisconsin statutes.
I'll make that motion.
By Bruce,
I'll second.
Roger. Any other discussion by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 9, to consider and approve and adopt resolution 1195-18, the CMAR report for 2017 as per Tom Rogers.
This is the annual report we put out every year that's due by June 30th, and it needs the resolution to be adopted. Basically on our sewer collection system. But the first part of it is the financials that Jody and Ginny fill out, and the second part is the operations of the plant, or the collection system, I should say. And the items that you'll see on there, and this is how it looks on the punch-in format on the state website, is the concern that we are cleaning our sewers, televising, maintaining manholes, expanding, replacing, what future planning may be intact and when, and, estimated dollar amounts and things of that nature. So this is what I'm submitting this. I've been doing this for about 10 years now.
So the CMAR is the Compliance Maintenance Annual Report required by the state of Wisconsin. Thank you, Tom. Number 10, to consider approved Class B combination.
Motion for that.
Yeah, it's a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
by Bob,
I'll second it.
by Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tom. Now, number 10. To approve Class B combination beer and liquor applications for 7/1/18 to 6/30 of 19. Karen?
Okay, some of these with the transfer, like with Greg Matushak's and with the Jennifer Olson with the Rustic Ridge, those we need separate motions. I talked with Attorney Van de Castle. So this one can be the first motion. This would be Tony Hermanichuk applying for Zielinski Bar at 149 West Pulaski Street. And we have Bernard William Wicca's Bar, 137 South St. Augustine Street. We have Pamela Ann Chavez at 110 West Pulaski Street for Another Round LLC. We have David Robert Kubiak for Cocktails, 203 South St. Augustine Street. We have the Cobblestone Hotel and Suites, 1220 Mountain Bay Drive, Pulaski Hotel Group, LLC. Okay, that would be the first part of the motion for those.
Could I have a motion to approve with conditions of the approvals of the fire department and the police
So moved.
and bill inspector, I guess,
Second.
Second.
by Roger.
And this would be to follow all Village of Pulaski ordinances in case if there's any bills that are owed and so forth. Okay, then the next one
Oh,
will
we
be,
got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carried.
okay, and then this one would be for a transfer. This would be upon the death of Greg E. Matushak, his sister. She's assigned with the probate registrar. Dawn M. Thompson, she's out of Pulaski, Wisconsin. And she filled out all the paperwork. They are going to keep it the name as Classics Hotel and Saloon. And that would be at 137 West Pulaski Street, Pulaski, Wisconsin. So that one would be a motion
Contingent upon
with all the police chief,
the tax laws.
fire inspector, to follow all Village of Pulaski ordinances.
And you're required to maintain that license till the property is sold? Is that correct, or the?
Attorney
license-
Van de Castle is helping me out with this because that went through probate and so forth. The family, they just don't want to lose that license.
Okay.
There's a letter in here too. She's got, "Dear Pulaski Village Board members, I am writing this letter to inform you of my intent to request for the granting of, starting July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, liquor license for Classics Hotel and Saloon at 137 West Pulaski Street. I have been appointed as the executor of the Greg E. Matushak estate and will act as the agent in the application. The building at 137 West Pulaski Street will not be open for business during the time of the probate process, and there will be no storage or sales of beer or liquor in this building. I do not at this time intend to apply for a Wisconsin seller's permit, purchase alcoholic beverages, or register as a retail beverage alcohol dealer with the federal government. Any issues regarding past deaths involving Classics Hotel and Saloons will be resolved through the probate process. The next owner of the building will determine its future use, license direction, and action on necessary permit applications. As Greg's sister, I want to thank you for your consideration in granting the liquor license for Classics Hotel and Saloon." And then I did just get this today from probate where she is registered as his sister. And if we could just have the contingency that it's upon Attorney Van de Castle's review also with this license.
It's not unusual in a probate situation for where a deceased had a business, that his or her estate continues to run the business after they've passed on. There are things, if they're going to close up the business, that need to be, wrapped up and those kinds of things. Or if they're going to sell it, the estate would have the authority to do that. So what's happening here is that they want to preserve that license. They don't want to lose it. It's an asset, a valuable asset to the estate, so they want to maintain it so that they can sell the building. I assume their intent is to sell it as a bar, they would need the license to do that. And so they're indicating that they're going to, the estate is going to pay for the license. Before Mr. Matusek passed away, Karen and I had talked about this, that you know, there's a question whether he was going to run the business anymore, but he could still have the license. So, and we've had that happen in other situations in the village in the past as well. There were people who maintained a license but didn't operate the establishment. So this is not unusual. It's just ordinary course of business for a bar when the bar owner passes away.
So I'll make a motion to approve that with the stipulations that were talked about.
I'll second.
Second by Chris. Any further discussion by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next one that I have is 104 South Wisconsin Street. This was Ingalls Mountain Bay Bar and Grill. They did close shop during the year because this current license would expire June 30th of 2018. So Jennifer Olson applied, as she's the owner of that property, along with her husband Randy Olson, for limited liability company. She has it under Rustic Ridge, and this is the case too, like Attorney Vandy Castle stated. She would like to keep that license. And this would be from July 1st, 2018 through June 30th of 2019. And she also did fill out the transferring that she is the owner, and she's transferring it from Mountain Bay Bar and Grill to Rustic Ridge LLC, Jennifer Olson and Randy Olson, 104 South Wisconsin Street. So this one would also be contingent upon review of Attorney Vandy Castle, because I will work with him on this. And this would follow all of the Village of Pulaski ordinances. Police department would need to check it out along with the fire inspector, building inspector, and especially with food with Tom Rogers.
I'll make that motion.
By Bruce,
I'll second.
by Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then under the Class B, I have one more yet. This would be with David P. Chiachi. He lives in Hobart, Wisconsin. He is holding the license currently. He's not open, but he's hanging on to the license. Phase 2 at 156 West Pulaski Street. He's also following all the rules. It's just that he is not open. And I know last year too, he paid for his license and so forth just so he could hang on to it. He had, with the fire department, I believe he had a fire extinguisher or something like that where he was in error with it. But like I mentioned, he wants to hang on to this license. He has all his paperwork. He was part of the publishing. And this one would require also the separate motion.
I'll make that
By
motion.
Gordy,
I'll second.
by Bob Gieske. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
Number 11.
The next one would be the Class A combination liquor and beer license, July 1st, 2018 through June 30th of 2019. This would cover Super Ron's Food Center Incorporated, 960 County Road B, Pulaski, Wisconsin. And this would be for the grocery store. He does have all the paperwork filled out, and this one would be just contingent upon police department, building inspector, fire inspector, and to follow all Village of Pulaski ordinances.